This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sophia Yvette.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Are you in need of a chiropractor? Well, one may be closer than you think. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Chris Babb with Kinetik Chain. Chris, it's great to have you on today. Now, we are excited to learn more about you and your business. So tell us just a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, happy to be here. We are sports chiropractors. And so in the big realm of chiropractic, we are a little different than the average. And so we have a, treatment style that's very different from what people think of when they think of chiropractic as far as like the normal adjustment. I really now maybe adjust 40% of my patients at this point. It's a lot of attention paid to soft tissue, musculoskeletal conditions, and the alternative ways of treating, whether it be dry needling, shockwave, manual therapies, functional movement. We are an all-encompassing establishment.
Wow, Chris. Now, how did you originally get into this industry? You sound like you really have a passion for what you do.
I do, and it was kind of a long road to kind of find my direction. I first went to school, was on scholarship for actually fine arts, and so for drawing and painting. And while I completed that degree, didn't know what I really wanted to do and always had a passion for the sciences, so went the traditional medical route and started doing the prerequisites, thinking I was going to go to med school and become, a surgeon, do something along those lines. Along the way, I got introduced to chiropractic through some of my peers, and it kind of sounded interesting, confused me a little bit, and dove into it. And with my athletic background and with kind of the proactive philosophies that it had, it really appealed to me. And so I ended up going down that path.
Wow. And for our listeners who may not know, what athletic background do you come from?
Played pretty much every sport I could possibly growing up. Really was drawn to soccer, and so played, club my entire high school career, captain of the team. Played with the SMU club soccer team, and then played as high a level as you could without, within the recreational scheme as long as I could.
So, Chris, switching gears here for a second. Now, what is the most common misconception you come across when it comes to sports chiropractic care?
Well, the biggest that I run into is just chiropractic in general. People, especially with social media and things of that nature, they see a lot of videos of just the adjustments. And I've heard over, decades of doing this, the different experiences people have in offices. And so the standard kind of come in, get cracked, I'll see you for the rest of your life is typically the re-education process that I have to begin with. And so my goal is to see you, get you better, put you on the path of education and understanding to be able to take care of yourself. If I'm seeing you for prolonged periods, well, I'm doing you a disservice. I'm missing something. And so my goal is just to get you back to functionality.
So what are some of those best practices our listeners could be missing out on?
It's a thorough evaluation, kind of understanding that the body is not really individual parts, it's a system. And so this system to work has to all be functioning appropriately. And so if I have low back pain and I just treat the low back and I'm not dealing with, say, the lower extremities or some of the, functionality, some of the movement patterns that we can deal with, then I can Band-Aid it and it'll feel better for a bit, but it's not going to be a long-term solution. And so best practices is really, being able to see the forest through the trees, knowing that we are not just in the goal of pain resolution, but improve functionality, quality of life, etc.
Now, Chris, we know that marketing is the heart of every business. So ideally, who are you looking to attract and how are you reaching them today?
So we are looking for people that are really passionate and, in some cases desperate to get their lives back on track. And so we market almost 95% by word of mouth. And that has made a successful business because we do what we tell you we're going to do. And so if we get you better and you tell 3 friends about it, then we have 3 more patients that come in. And then that kind of has been our ability to grow. Traditional marketing, because it is such a wide net, isn't always the best for what we want. Because we want people that are actually motivated to improve and don't just want to, I want an active participant in your health. The ideal is, there is no ideal. Anybody that wants to feel better or move better, it's, we'll take, youth athletes to professional athletes and every walk of life in between. One day I may be treating a 12-year-old, then I may see a professional football player, and then I may see an 80-year-old. And this could all be just back-to-back patients, because we don't necessarily have a cookie cutter archetype, but just a generalized philosophy that we bring into the practice.
So Chris, we know you are passionate about what you do, but what about outside of work? What do you like to do for fun?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned, I have my art degree. And so I do have a completely up and running studio, show art, painting on a daily basis, running a clothing brand, playing with my son, hanging out with my family. I keep myself busy.
And focusing back on the business here for a second, we've covered a lot of great information, but what is the greatest takeaway you would like our listeners to gather from learning about kinetic chain?
I would say that people that are dealing with chronic issues, severe pain, and, basically things that have limited their ability to function on a daily basis the way they want to, that, all is not lost. Eliminating activities from your life is not necessarily the answer to feeling better. That's just taking things away. There are paths that people can achieve their goals and do so in a way that they don't have to deal with a chronic discomfort or fear. And so, what makes me happy is bringing people back to doing what they want to do.
And where is the best place for our listeners to find out more about Kinetic Chain?
Kinetikchain.com is probably the best avenue to getting online, reading a little bit more about us, potentially setting an appointment. And then we also have an email. So if you have further questions or anything on that of that nature, you can always feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to respond as quickly as possible.
Well, Chris, I really appreciate you being on the show today. We wish you and your business the best moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpfrisco.com. That's gnpfrisco.com. Or call 469-221-9345.